Hey pilots, Lykosar here, bringing you some more PvP action in Star Citizens 3.8. Today I'm featuring the Aegis Gladius. The strengths of this ship include 2 shield hardpoints while having excellent maneuverability. First clip shows how you should be maneuvering against a relatively slow ship such as a Cutlass. You can see I really try and stick on him hard because if we start to create space, he's going to be able to lock his missiles on me. You could see me maneuvering around him in such a way as to try and get that pancake shot over the largest part of his profile because I'm using scatter guns and they do more damage the more surface area you have to shoot at. Same philosophy goes for taking on ships like the Freelancer. You want to do a lot of counter strafing, a lot of canceling their velocity with respect to you, and you want to try and stay out of their firing arcs. Now as they approach terminal velocity, it becomes harder to do that because you have less of a speed overhead to maneuver around them, and the desync is so bad in the PU compared to Arena Commander that ships can appear to teleport. While fixed scatter guns are an ideal weapon for taking out large, slow ships with lots of surface area, they're not very good against agile fighters. The Super Hornet is something in between. It really is a true medium fighter, I would say. Taking it on, you really want to be using mass drivers that are gimbaled, but with these weapons, once again, you're trying to get really close and preventing them from drifting from you, which is all about strafe matching, or strafing in the same direction that they're going. In this example, the Freelancer appears to have done a reverse strafe using boost, which is presenting a very bad situation for me where he can lock on all his missiles. By the time I catch up to him, he's already fired everything. As a result, I have to temporarily switch priorities into evading all the missiles, because they will destroy you. And unfortunately, countermeasures don't really work correctly, so your best option is just to run. In order to intercept my opponent, I engage in a leading pursuit. In order to accomplish this, I go into a maneuver that has been coined the oversteer turn by Legacy Fleet. And unfortunately got a little too excited, so overshot him there. Now you're going to see that I'm going to struggle immensely to stick on this particular target as well as I did the others because we're so close to that max speed limit. I don't have a lot of speed overhead and it's limiting my accelerations and maneuverability. The game also gets really desyncy at these very high speeds just because of the way the engine works. Hopefully soon we'll be getting some de-incentivizers for very high speed combat. He's able to break away, and of course now I'm gonna do barely any damage to him because of the spread of the scatter guns. The reason you see me doing lots of rolls against fighting these larger ships isn't because I'm trying to be more evasive. I'm trying to let the engines on the overheated side of the ship cool. So the next clips will be an Arena Commander. You tend to have a higher average skill level, which makes it a very good learning environment. So in the first clip, you'll see I'm engaged with a Gladius when all of a sudden I start taking pretty heavy damage from behind. And then I see that there's a pilot Jolly in a Hornet, so I shift my attention to him because you can't be taking 5 mass driver volleys while fighting somebody else. Unfortunately, he seems to have brought his Fisher-Price shields to this particular match, because usually he doesn't take nearly this much damage, and I'll be fighting him in a few other rounds after this, and you'll see he's a very good pilot, very hard to kill. My opponent here is relatively new to the PvP Academy. With time he will be outstanding. But I wanted to include this clip just to show you guys the difference evasiveness can really make in time to kill. So he still has some room to grow in his evasive maneuvers, and I wanted you guys to see and contrast the length of this fight versus ones against highly evasive players. This fight is going to show me fighting against a Gladius with Gatlings, which is a pretty uncommon loadout, but the pilot makes a big difference, and I happen to be fighting against 𝓒𝓞𝓝, who is well regarded to be one of the best pilots in the game. His tracking aim is impeccable, and you'll see that I pretty much will be taking damage throughout the entirety of the fight, but I do have an advantage in that if the mass drivers do have higher effective DPS because of the high alpha damage. So if I can just consistently shoot at him and land a large amount of shots, I should be able to win. Of course, doing that is easier said than done because he is, as you can see, highly evasive and his aim is very good. You'll see throughout this fight that part of his strategy is to force me into a position where I can't turn fast enough to shoot at him, forcing me into a lot of turning battles. And to try and counter that, you'll see me reversing several times when he tries to fly past me or try to get very close. That way I can try and keep him in my firing arcs and continue to land hits. But him being extremely evasive makes aiming very difficult. It's hard to convey that on screen, just how tough it is. Now, while I will use reverse strafe to keep him in my firing arcs, I still like to keep the fight close personally as well. So one mistake that I often see players do is they start reverse strafing and they never stop. They keep going until, you know, you exit the effective range of combat, which, depending on, you know, the more evasive a pilot is, the shorter the effective range will be. I mean, with me and 𝓒𝓞𝓝, it's super close range. Anything farther out from 300, 400 meters is, you're not going to be landing hits most likely. The Hornet with 5 mass drivers can be an intimidating opponent for the Gladius. So, as someone who flies the Hornet pretty often and a big fan of the ship, I can tell you where it struggles. So if you get really close to the Hornet and go very evasive, the Hornet will have trouble turning quickly enough to track you, and therefore won't be able to hit you. The other place where the Hornet struggles is there's a sweet spot for a range where the Hornet going maximally evasive and the Gladius going maximally evasive. The Gladius will be able to dodge all the shots, but the Hornet, because it's slower, will not be able to do so. So you can fight it in those two ways, and the other thing you can do is try and force it into turn battles by flying past it. And once you go into the turn battle and you're both trying to bring your guns to bear on each other, the Hornet will struggle to do that faster than the Gladius, because the Gladius simply turns faster. If, as a Hornet pilot, I often try to, you know, manage range to prevent these circumstances from occurring, but this is what you can try to go for as a Gladius pilot. This clip will show the really detrimental effects of taking multiple consecutive shots because of your shield strength going down and ballistic penetration increasing with every next shot. Here's a short clip just demonstrating some useful maneuvers in pursuit. Here you can see the advantage of the oversteer turn and avoiding this asteroid. And now you see me use it to some extent to counteract his drift away from me. Now let's contrast this fight against the one that was shown in the clip before the last one. You saw that I destroyed this pilot very quickly after landing multiple consecutive hits, and he's adapted and taken a more evasive flight pattern. So you see me reverse right there to keep him in my firing arcs. I don't allow him to reset the fight. This allows me to get back on target quickly while he's still kind of searching for me, because he didn't, presumably didn't predict me taking that action. Looking above to make sure I don't hit any asteroids again, and starting to get pretty high speed in this fight. My guess is he's decoupled, which is why we're now, you know, not really moving that fast with respect to each other. But our absolute speed is very high, and yeah, So this fight, he managed to draw it out long enough to force me to crash into the barrier. Here I'm in a little training session with one of the members of my Discord server, and we're going to have a discussion on shields as well as flight tactics to take when you're being outturned in a turn battle.
Yeah, it's at least letting me take some more hits.
Yeah, definitely. What shields are you rocking?
I think I put a beacon and a shimmer on it.
Oh, okay. Oh, the beacon's one of the new shields, right?
I just have them sitting in my inventory. I remember the stats looked alright.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, that's a good combo. You want a stealth shield and a tanky shield.
Yeah, the stealth shields regen instantly, right?
Yeah, they regen under fire, so they're useful in these situations because ballistic penetration is proportional to the shield's health. So, not directly proportional, but they are associated. So you want to be able to have your shield as close to max health as possible.
I never knew. Okay. Good fight.
So when you see that you're like losing a turning battle, which is where I'm shooting at you while you're still trying to turn at me, you have two options. You can reverse to then be able to more easily bring your guns to bear on me, or what I typically would do in that situation, do a blow through and fly past me and reset the fight.
If it's an actual armor set, oh, he's back on.
This clip will unfortunately show the fall from grace that the arrow took when it lost one of its shield hardpoints, and became no longer the meta ship. In the right hands, it could still do some damage, but it's exceedingly difficult against a pilot and a Gladius of similar skill. In this last clip, I wanted to take you guys through what I consider a boss level battle. Galoith with mass drivers, he's extremely skilled, extremely difficult to fight. This fight will last quite a while between us, even at super close ranges. And I'm just going to try and narrate it for you guys so you can see what my thinking is throughout this battle. So I notice he's strafing a lot in a particular direction, and he's trying to force me into turn battles. I'm taking lots of hits from him, but also delivering a good amount of hits myself. And there we go, he flies past me, resets the fight, manages to get a flick shot on me before I manage to aim at him. There we go, turn battle again, and I managed to dodge that one. Unfortunately, I start taking damage from the Hornet, and once again, you can't accept taking 5 mass driver rounds in your back while fighting somebody else, so we divert our attention. And we resume the fight.
Yeah, fine. There you go.
Okay, so turn battle again, and he gets that flick shot coming out of it.
Somebody's shooting at me?
Just me. So I reverse now to prevent him from taking me into a turn battle. Okay. Okay, multiple consecutive hits here, which is really good. as far as dealing damage. Okay, flick shot. Reversing to keep him in my firing arcs. Okay, there he managed to blow through, and he got a hit coming out of the turn battle on me. Okay, so now I'm critical. I don't know what his status is, but hopefully he's in a similar situation. For a second, I lose him there. Reversing to keep him in my firing arcs. Yes, and that was the end. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one, pilots. Lykosar out.